Okay, we are now live, so welcome to the June committee meeting. We've got a number of us in attendance. So hi, I'm Owen, I'm the chair of JavaScript New Zealand. Alex, do you want to introduce yourself?
I'm Alex, I am the treasurer.
Anna?
Hi, I'm Anna, a member.
Kev?
Hi, I'm Kevin, I'm a member.
Samson?
Hi, I'm Samson, I'm the secretary.
And Stevie?
Hi, I'm Stevie, and I'm a committee member.
Excellent. Okay, so we've just got a few things to go through today, but I thought we might dive into, should we do the more structured stuff first, and then we can do a general talk about the code of conduct stuff, because I think that might be a bit more free range than the rest of it. So I'll ask Alex to kick off first with a quick financial update. If you could let us know when it's all due.
Cool. So we've paid our GST. That came out 2 months ago, from memory. Basically, Dale, our new accountant, has got all of the details he needs. He was just waiting on me to send him some bank accounts, final statements for March 31st. I've sent him that. He's pretty keen to get it done ASAP, so he's looking to turn it around next week. As soon as we get it, we're going to distribute it to all of the committee members, and that'll be the trigger to say 30 days from now will be our AGM. And so we'll have to do a lot of promotion about the AGM coming up, so we get a meaningful amount of nominations for certain positions. So we're hopefully a week and 30 days away from the next AGM and the financial statement. We've paid our financial. We finally got the end of year returns for the previous financial year. I think that happened before the last committee meeting, so that was possibly mentioned. But that's all been done, sorted, done and dusted. And the accounts are looking pretty good at the moment. We've paid for the accountant for the previous financial year. We haven't paid for the accountant for the last financial year, so the work that he's doing now. But it's still the same price as what we were quoted before, so it's around $420 or thereabouts. But there will be some kind of tax hit, since we do have a little bit of profit left over at the end of the year, to be determined. That's it. Did I miss anything?
Not that I know of. I'd like to, well, can I just get an indication, how likely is it that we're going to get by the end of the week? And if it's not the end of the week, is it definitely going to be the week after?
It should be the end of the week. I'll hassle him. He's really quick at turnaround once he gets all of the things he needs. And normally when he says that it's the end of the week, I've never had him go over that time. So I'll keep on him.
Cool. I'm just thinking whether we set the date now, because we could probably set like end of July, would give us more than 30 days. We could do a long notice period and say that, aim for the end of July as an AGM. I'll float some dates to the committee as to when would be suitable. But, like Saturday the 29th or something, or Sunday the 30th. And we could put that notice up ASAP.
Does the report have to be shown for 30 days before we accept it? Is that the deal? Or is it just that the AGM has to be announced for 30 days?
We have to give 30 days notice for nominations for anything we want to ratify at the AGM. So as long as we say that we want to ratify our accounts and that we want to start voting for people, we don't actually have to give the accounts 30 days before. We just have to say it's going to happen.
Right. In which case we can just peg it for a month's time. It's like 100% chance of the report's going to be finished in a month's time.
Yeah, I was just thinking like end of July is a good one, just because it gives plenty of time for people to nominate and vote. Like we're 10 days into June. It would be good to give more than 30 days, just so that people feel like they've got plenty of time to nominate and vote. Does
Yep.
everybody agree or not?
I think it's good.
Okay, so I'll quickly vote on that. Is everybody happy for me to just nominate a few dates? Okay, cool. I'll put them up in the committee channel, and we'll go from there. Okay, so we're looking at end of July for our AGM. The other thing, so that's kind of AGM planning. We'll make sure that we put up the positions that we're electing for. If you want to stay a committee member, then obviously nominate yourself, and somebody here will probably second you, I would imagine. Then we'll also post those positions available. I think the voting on GitHub worked relatively well last year. Does anybody have any issues with us using that same system?
We just need to ensure, because this year we've got a lot more people on the Slack channel who aren't actually members of JavaScript New Zealand, it might be a bit more difficult for us to work out who is who. But if we can manage that, it was fine.
Yes, we need to make it plainly obvious that if you are nominated and you are not a member, then you are not eligible for a committee member position. But you're more than welcome to pay your membership at that point.
Should we
It's
do
not
a
a big
push?
deal.
Should we do a push for memberships?
Yeah, so I think we'll do the same thing, and we will. Right, we always come around to this whole renewing memberships, but I think we probably should, just to get the bank account to pay the accountant.
We can just do it through Xero, right?
Yeah. So I think what we do is anybody who's 12 months or more at the AGM, I'm going to send out an email saying, hey, please renew your membership. Does that sound okay to everybody?
Yep.
Okay. And we've obviously, and they can obviously pay through the website. Well, no.
Can they?
Right. No, they can't. No, they can't. I don't know what I'm saying. They can sign up through the website, but obviously that still does an invoice that we have to go and create. So I'll check Xero and I'll give a list of names to the committee that we are going to be asking for renewals, which will probably be a number of committee members too. I know I'm up for renewal. So, okay, those are the two main businesses that I thought were, apart from code of conduct stuff. Does anybody else have any issues to bring to the committee before we go on to code of conduct?
What is the state of the conference?
Good question, but we don't have Jen here.
Yeah, just if you have heard something, yeah.
I haven't heard anything. Does anybody have any insight?
No, the only thing that I saw was there was a little bit of movement on the Auckland JS channel in Slack about taking on the mantle of responsibility, but I don't know how far that got.
I do know a little bit about this. I know the Auckland JS guys had some issues with the way which we needed it to be run, which I've talked to them about. I've put up my hand tentatively to run that. I'm working out how I can do that while still doing my job, which is always fun. So I'm just working out those details at the moment. And then I've been talking to Jen about that. So potentially I will be doing that with support from some of the Auckland JS guys like Don, and also Jen's support for some parts of it, which she says she may be able to help with as well, mostly around the finance and the financial aid she may be able to run for us. So stay posted there.
Okay, so it's likely to be an Auckland-based conference at this point?
Yes, hopefully.
Okay. That sounds like everything we know right now. But hopefully we'll have a good update next committee meeting from Jen herself. But feel free to post to the committee and ask directly if you want some more information. Does anybody else have anything to raise? Okay, a general shaking of heads. So we'll move on to code of conduct. So obviously we had a few issues this week in the general channel that led to code of conduct breaches. Alex has raised a few issues for us to think about maybe if I just go through some of them. So let's talk about onboarding. I think that's probably the best place to start. Alex, do you want to kick off and just describe what you're seeing?
Yeah, so this came out of a conversation I had with Oren over lunchtime sometime this week. When we were talking about, well, the odd thing that happened was one of the people in the heated conversation said, I didn't know that there was a society or that we were under a code of conduct, and that raised flags for me, saying how does one enter the Slack channel without knowing that there's a society behind it? But then I went in myself and signed up in the normal flow to see what happens, and at no point in time do you understand anything. It's if someone told me, hey, jump on the Slack channel, there's a lot of people talking about JavaScript, I would just jump on it, and I wouldn't make any assumptions about anything surrounding it. And then when I was talking to Oren about it, she said the DevOps one makes you tick a checkbox saying, do you accept to the code of conduct? They don't have a society around them, but this is just DevOps New Zealand. And I wondered whether we could have something like that. It should hopefully stop new people coming on board not knowing that they're bound to a code of conduct while they're inside the Slack channel. And it seems fairly simple to set up.
Yeah, I think we just went with the default Slack-in website, which is a kind of a thing that you download from GitHub and just host in Heroku. But I can talk to Will, who runs the DevOps one, and see what he did to get the tick box on, because I presume he's using exactly the same plugin.
Yeah, and the only other thing I mentioned on that issue was perhaps a channel shout out to everyone saying you are under a code of conduct and there is a society behind the Slack. It's not just an open chat room.
Yeah, is that something we have to do regularly?
Maybe.
I think it's a good idea to do it regularly. I mean, because even if people do tick something as they come in, 6 months down the line, they're not going to remember what they said they'd agreed to. Who reads those things anyway, for the most part? So I mean, yeah, I think it's better to remind, and and then have it come up and say, well, we told you and we told you and we told you.
Yes.
It's your problem then, as opposed to we didn't tell nobody or we didn't remind nobody, and then it comes back on us.
So how regular is appropriately regular? Is monthly enough?
I think if it was a Slack bot, it could be as regular as you want, because they generally don't come off as that annoying to me.
Yeah.
Yeah, a couple of weeks at a time, I'd say. Every 2 to 4 weeks, just regular intervals.
Okay, I'll look into, so I can take accountability for looking into something that we can put into the Slack channel. A, for a checkbox for the sign up, to say that you are bound by the code of conduct and you acknowledge that it is being run by a society. And then the second one is a reminder bot or something that will tell everybody here's the code of conduct. Can somebody give me some suggested wording for that? Would somebody mind just writing up that kind of message? Anybody winning?
Sorry, I was just looking for my mute button there. Yeah, I'm happy to kind of draft something and
Cool.
I'll put it on the Slack channel so we can kind of take a look at the draft.
Thank you, Samson. That's perfect.
We also can use some flags like trigger phrases for the bot to remind people that there's a code of conduct when they use some phrases.
Yeah, I suspect there's bots out there for this. I'll have a look.
Yeah, it's easy to do. You just add a phrase, a trigger, and then add a response.
Oh, yeah.
Any admin can do this, and we just can add new phrases when we know what triggers, most popular triggers are.
Yep.
Like, for example, like "Hi guys." For example.
Yes, we can look at doing that one. That should be a relatively.
And it raises the question about the admin permissions for committee members.
Yes. So, so I guess every committee member should be an admin, shouldn't they? Is everybody happy for me to look at making every committee member an admin? All votes? Okay.
I did raise another issue. Sorry, Samson, you go.
That might be the similar issue. Just like I'm happy to have admin access, but this might come up in the conversation later. But how much time are we committing to kind of monitoring the Slack channel? Like, and this might, I don't know, maybe this leads into kind of what you were at Alex about the moderators coming in.
Yeah, I wondered if we wanted to have other people that are willing to help out to moderate, and whether they could be admins too. I didn't know how that would work, but it's just a potential idea, because a lot of us are busy, and the more moderators we have, the easier it is across the whole board.
And then, so if we have moderators, then we have to figure out, I guess, accountabilities around that, and deciding who is a moderator, and what their roles and responsibilities are in that regard. Yeah, it's certainly something I wanted to talk about, because the Slack channel, the Slack group is a 24/7 space, and there's 8 of us-ish or so, and how do we? I'm not on the Slack channel during the day really that much. I have the general muted. I check the committee messages from time to time, but I can't be kind of monitoring it all day long, kind of thing.
Mm-hmm.
So how do we want to manage that? If we're going to have a Slack group that's society owned or society run, what are we committing to there? And yeah, I don't know if there's ever been discussion about that.
We can add a role we vote for, and people can suggest candidates or themselves, and we just as issue on GitHub. And if doesn't have to be a vote. It has to be like a reference from 2 or 3 people. Yes, this person can be, and we trust. I know he or him, so he can be a moderator, something like this. And it can be done through GitHub issues, I think, easily.
It's a good idea. It'll tie into the AGM coming up soon.
Yep.
Yeah,
But it doesn't have to be once a year. It can happen regularly, just because it doesn't have to be a voting. It can be just for example, to become a moderator, you need to get 2 references from other members. That's all.
Yeah, I like that. It's a good idea. And regarding kind of our reaction time based on this last week, I think that was another issue that came up. And yeah, thank you, Anna, for kind of hopping in there. I think there's a few other people kind of flagged that, and I think Alex the second time. But yeah, I guess there's still some issues around how do we react to this in a timely manner, and what are the guidelines that we go by. I took a look at a couple kind of community guidelines for Slack channels. There's a few out there. One of them lists kind of 4 points about listening without interruption, or don't disqualify what people have to say. So maybe there are some kind of simple guidelines we could have around that kind of thing. I'm not sure how people feel about that, but to me, it seemed like in both cases there was somebody saying, hey, what you're saying is not making me feel comfortable or not making me feel welcome, please stop. And the person continued and persisted. I don't know if that's I haven't given it deep thought, but I mean, that might be kind of a simple guideline we can start with or go with. And I don't know what people think about that.
It's a risk situation. It needs a risk management and a risk plan. So crisis plan, just somewhere written and visible to everyone with the steps. And if we have a group of moderators, we need to describe their roles and what they can do and can do. And in these roles and this instruction, there will be what you're we're just talking about now, Samson. And we just need a reference guide for anyone who will be doing moderating as a job to be able to reference to in case that someone will complain about the moderator's actions. There always will be a guide. So it was everything kind of legal. You just need to write it down.
Yeah, I think. Sorry, I was out for a bit of that conversation. So from my point of view, it felt like a lot of the conversations that people just wanted to dive into a debate. They wanted to prove that they were okay to say what they were saying, which is obviously not the approach we want to encourage. We want to dive in straight away, in my mind, and say, hey, this isn't a place for a debate. This isn't that. Yeah, I don't know what I'm trying to say. It's just difficult, isn't it? You want people to be able to like feel free to make a mistake and then apologize for the mistake. You don't want to have to
In
have
some,
a first mistake.
in some cases, the conversation, like if it stayed on track and on topic and didn't become inflammatory or hurt other people's feelings, it could have been a constructive conversation. And it's a shame that it did. One of them did diverge quite quickly. But I wondered if there's a way for them to invite other people into a channel and say, "Hey, look, I'm going to start this topic in this channel. It is a bit controversial. Maybe you don't want to join it if you don't feel comfortable." Is that a valid option? Could people do that?
I think that if we have if that is particularly if they want to create a channel, that's fine. I don't think that general is ever the place for that sort of thing. I think that as soon as someone says, "Hey, I don't feel comfortable with this," we just stop. I don't care if that. It doesn't matter if people don't agree with that. Someone has said clearly in the general channel that something's uncomfortable, then it stops. It's different if we have like a Flame Wars channel or whatever. You enter here, things you can't be personal. You might debate topics, but you might get a little more leeway because you've deliberately gone into that. But a general channel is something where everybody should feel safe at all. So yeah, I mean, I think that's kind of what.
So a little bit of technical question. What are the options for banning in Slack? Is there like option to ban from only one channel or for 10 minutes? So I don't know. So what?
I have no idea. They could start a private channel, but if you're not an admin, you can only have a private channel with 7 people, I think it is.
You can certainly remove people from a channel, and there's slash
not from
remove or
general.
slash kick.
I think you can't remove people from general because of the main channel.
I think you can.
You can from general?
Yeah. I want to kick myself, and I'm not sure how to get it.
Just
I know
kick
you
me.
can leave.
So from Kev's point, it's interesting. Would we be moderating the channels that people create for these topics to be talked about? Or would they just be open to anything?
I don't think they should be open to anything. That just feels bad to me.
Yeah.
Sorry, just an update. Yeah, Anna, you're right. You can't kick people out of the general channel. Yeah.
Unfortunately, Slack is not about community management. It's about business management. In that regards, where there will be a lot of things that will be difficult to do with Slack simply because it's great for companies, and that's why we all have it and we all use it. However, for what we want to use it for the society, it doesn't actually do the job very well.
Mm-hmm.
Is that banning process currently just a manual process that one of you is managing, or? Okay.
Yeah, so basically one of us went in and just removed the user and disabled the account.
So do we want to create
Okay.
So do we want to create an issue, like a GitHub issue, to kind of talk about this stuff, or is this something that we should be doing, kind of having a bit of a chat about this as committee members, or anybody have any idea, sense of process?
I think that we need to establish some short-term process immediately, so we can, because like with what happened this week was that someone was basically being a jerk and continued, and then was a jerk again, and we probably should have dealt with it. You know, we need a call, because he didn't seem to be wanting. It's different if you mess up and then you apologize for it, or you can see the error in your ways. He didn't see the error in his ways, so that was already one strike right there. And then just used another opportunity and just kind of blew, and yeah, kind of really went off the rails.
Yeah.
So, I think that we need to have an immediate, and I think everybody needs to know that we have an immediate course of action if somebody is deemed to be in violation of the code of conduct.
Can I just suggest a few steps that we take, and we'll go from there. So I think we should need to open up to moderators. I think we as committee members can open an issue, allow people to volunteer as a moderator, and we can vote amongst ourselves as to whether somebody can become a moderator or not. And we control that channel. We can create a private channel that they can be part of as a moderator so that we can communicate just to moderators. I would like to see all of us put something in our usernames, and also moderators to put something in their usernames to say that they are committee members or moderators. We put a guide that says if your conversation is deemed to be going in an angle that we don't want, we will put a message into the channel. A moderator or a committee member will put a message to say, please refrain from this conversation. Please stop immediately, essentially. If you refuse to stop immediately, then you will be kicked off.
For how long?
For at least a week. And then that allows us to come together and actually decide how long.
Okay. Yeah, agreed.
One more thing. Can we have a group tag where people can just go @moderators and it will...
I don't think you can.
Yeah, you can. You can set up groups in the Slack administration. So we can have like @committee and @admins or something.
I totally didn't know you could do that. Yes.
And if we tell people this is how you communicate, like if you notice something going down, just go @moderators, look at this, and someone will jump in a meaningful amount of time.
Okay, so we are, number one, we're setting up moderators. So that's a committee voted position. We're setting up a guide for usernames so that people know who moderators are. We're creating a group for moderators and for committee so that people can just ping them regularly. We're setting up guidance that says if you are warned, you should stop immediately the conversation. And if you fail to do that, you will be kicked off for a week. Is everybody okay with that? Okay, I will endeavour to get that set up within the week. Within this weekend, so that by tomorrow we've got all those groups set up, and we can open up an issue for people to nominate themselves as moderators. Can somebody just set up the issue in GitHub for me in Justice Society meetings? Would somebody mind doing that?
Yeah, sure, I can do that.
Okay, do we have anything else on that topic that we want to cover?
The response times, we can just come back to it next committee meeting.
Yeah, I suspect once we have a set number of moderators, we'll know better how we get coverage and what our response times are likely to be. We can probably form a much better view of that. Okay, I think we've covered everything off that we wanted to cover. Does anybody have any other business? Okay, thank you very much for giving up half an hour of your Sunday for us. Wish you all well, and we'll talk on Slack very soon. But thanks everybody. Take care.
See ya.
Thanks, everyone.
We'll see y'all.